Hey guys, Frank here, your virtual general aviation aviator, and today I am in the Carbon Cub by Big Tower Production. And boy, don't you like these big Alaskan towers on it? Anyway, this is a one of the default liveries, and I spun in Atlanta just to do some sightseeing in the area. And the reason I chose the Carbon Cub is because it's a low and slow flying aircraft. And I believe, at least for the sim, if you really want to do some sightseeing, seeing what's on the ground, then the Carbon Cub is your ticket. Now, with that said, I did adjust um, my settings, which I normally keep a little bit higher. Um, I reduced let's see, the number of world objects I normally have on high, but I reduced it to medium texture quality. I reduced it to whatever this to high from maximum, and anti-aliasing I reduced it from 4x SSAA plus FXAA to just 4x SSAA. The reason I did that, so you might see a little bit more. My graphics may not look as good as is you are accustomed to seeing, but Atlanta historically has used so much processing power to draw the scene that I tend to get about a real low. Am I in Atlanta? This don't look like Atlanta. A real low frames per second. Um, if I am in Atlanta, look like I might be missing some airports. So let's get out and look. Yeah, so I am missing some stuff. And to be honest with you, not so sure I like this. I'm getting 41 frames. And I am gonna bump up my scenery a little bit. I can't take it, guys. I love my eye candy. I love my eye candy. Okay. All right, I'm back. And I knew that didn't look like Atlanta. Um, well, I see my city populating in the background. Um, don't want that. Want it to be there when I look and I see Stone Mountain. Anyway, I am in. I'm at Peachtree, DeKalb, not Hartsville. Um, I want to fly to Hartsville. Anyway, excuse me. I'm eating. I'm eating, and video and eating, as you can see, does not work well together. Okay, so anyway, so okay, so the Carbon Cup, and this is the glass version. Now, this aircraft does come in two versions. So without further ado, we're not going to go through a checklist or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So let's um, let's prime it. I don't think the primer is modeled, but just for the sake of immersion, prime it a little bit. All right. mixture. Okay, where's my throttle? I don't see my throttle. Oh, there's my throttle. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at it in the wrong place. All right. So let's get it started. And don't see anybody out there. Prop clear. All right. Would help if we turn our master on. And for this aircraft, I think we do need to turn on our avionics so that we can see our aircraft parameters. Prop clear. Whoa. A little bit too much throttle there. Okay, about 900, 950 is good. All right. So, we are not going to waste any time getting in the air. The reason I chose this particular aircraft because I believe that this is probably one of the best sightseeing aircraft for X-plane there is, other than helicopters. Because with this guy, it doesn't take anything at all to get in the air. Let's see, let's go over here and we'll grab this runway. I'm not checking weather or doing any of that good stuff that I would normally do, but I am gonna fly and tour into Class Bravo airspace, so I wouldn't be able to do that in real life. And get that mixture set the correct way. And we're just gonna take off on this guy here. Looks like Peachtree DeKalb is a pretty good size airport. I actually am really unfamiliar with the airport. All right, so let's give ourselves some flaps and beacon and landing lights, strobes, and let's take off. Okay, full power, nose is down, rotate, and we're up. Okay, trim it. And I am working that trim. I don't think there's a trim wheel that you can see on this aircraft. I do want to put my fuel on both tanks though. I think I may even already have it on both tanks. I can't really tell. Okay, yeah, that's the right tank. So let me turn it back. And that's both tanks. All right. So I'm headed towards Stone Mountain. Since I'm headed that way, let's see. Now I had a brother who used to live in Stone Mountain. I don't know where he lives at now. I mean, I don't know where his house is at in relationship to Stone Mountain. He doesn't live there anymore, so it's no need to go into Stone Mountain. Let's take a look at Stone Mountain. You know, again, what I like about this aircraft is it's a great sightseeing aircraft. And let's go to our PDF, get out of the MDF, and that way we can see what our climb rate is. Whoops, sorry guys. And we're at 3,000 and we don't, so let's trim it down. And I'm not getting a response from my trim wheel. Okay, let me fix that. Okay, I am back, and looks like my trim wheel is hooked up. So let me work it down. And so pull it up and see what happens if I get it. Okay, so I am getting movement on the trim wheel, which is this guy here, but I'm still climbing. Let me take them flaps off, that's probably why. And back out so I can see what I'm doing. All right. On that mountain. And I think I was climbing because I had those flaps in. So now I can trim it up a little. Put back on that power. And I suspect for you guys who live in and around Atlanta, you may recognize some of these roads in relationship to Stone Mountain, and particularly if you live in Stone Mountain. Um, I remember let's see, the only road in Stone Mountain I can remember at the moment is Reading Road. Um, and so let me level out here. And I want to lose, I think I'm losing 100 feet per minute, which is not bad. That's a good descent rate to play around with this piece of, I think Stone Mountain is granite. It's some sort of rock material that weather did not wear down like it did the surrounding area, which is why you got this particular one piece of land that's higher than the rest of the land. And I can't remember what material this is. I think it may be granite. If I'm wrong, then correct me in the comments. So one thing about Stone Mountain is, well, one thing about this aircraft is I can slow it down really slowly. Now there's a train below us, and I've got my RPMs pulled back to about 1500. All right, so I'm gonna add some flaps. And let's look at the mountain. Looks like there is a building on top of the mountain. You know, I actually have never been to the top of Stone Mountain. In fact, this would be as close to Stone Mountain as I've ever been. Um, in terms of having a look at it from this close up. Um, but yeah, I would definitely say that that flat feature was a building. Autogen did not put a building on top of the mountain, and the ortho looks like it did take a picture of what once was a building on top of the mountain. All right, so let's get out of here. Let's make our way to Hartsfield. Now, where is Hartsfield? And if you ask that question, that's a good question to ask because I do not know, and we'll find it together. All right, so let's get trimmed out here and trimming. Go to the MDF and let's see, range. Okay, I think that's Peachtree to Cab. The blue compass rose. So I would say, yeah, this is K. This is KATL here, and where am I? Okay, I'm right here. So that looked like what, about 240. So let's set a heading of 240. Get rid of that. And let's put 240 on our heading book. Let's see. Now I think in order to do that, I need to go back to the PDF. Yeah. And 240, maybe a little bit more westerly than we really want. Okay, so let's turn our autopilot on. And let's turn our heading on. Okay, AP heading. So that should be on. Oh man, my heading bug went back. I must have hit something to sync it back to wherever my nose was. So let me put it back to 240. And let's go back to our MDF. And let's see if it points us in the direction of that airport. Now, there's no way you guys I could do this in real life because there's just too much traffic in the Atlanta area. Oh, there's downtown. Shall we fly through downtown? Actually, with my ortho photo scenery and the auto gen being set to high rather than maximum, then we probably won't see many buildings. In fact, I can see the buildings that I'm going to see now. And if you guys are wondering what differences setting it to maximum makes, I am going to go there for you. So we'll go here, we'll set this to maximum, and we hit done. Okay, so I just changed the setting to maximum on the objects, and perhaps you can see a few more buildings than it was. Let's see, my frame rate is down to 20, but which is why I don't fly with maximum objects on. Um, in fact, I'm down to 18, and so I am gonna reduce some of these objects. But what happens with X-Plane is every new piece of autogen it has to draw and display, and that really, really can beat up the frames on this simulator. And for me, it's unflyable in this city with the frame set so high. So I mean with the object set so high, so I gotta lower them. And going back to medium. I think I was at medium. Even if I wasn't, that's where I'm going. I have a i7 6th generation processor, and that's where my bottleneck is at. I just don't have the CPU power to draw this many objects and display it in display it fast enough to make the sim worth flying. Now let me release some of this back pressure, and flaps are up. So I am working my flaps. I mean, not my flaps, but my trim. And okay, my autopilot was on, which is why my trim was not responding. Okay, so let's get down because we are way up, way too high. Start what may look like a kamikaze dive. And we're still headed southwest, so I think the airport is more to our left, more to the south, probably back this way some. In fact, I don't think I could see the airport from here. um, but we'll get there. It's a matter of being patient. You know, we are low and slow. This is a bush aircraft. Oh yeah, back to our frame rate. You can see that now that I've changed the settings, my frame rate is back up to 30. So the number of world objects, at least on my system, makes a really, really big difference. Now, I got a fairly decent GPU. It's no longer one of the newer ones, but for right now, it's doing, I'm happy with it. It's a 1080 Ti. Of course, my druthers would be to have a 3080 or 3090. But the thing that I've learned with sims and sim hardware is, unless you got deep pockets, then what you want to do is skip a generation before you upgrade. So I got the 1080. The generation behind the 1080 was the 2080, and now we're at the 3080. So technically I could go ahead and upgrade, but in my opinion, the 2080 was around for a hot second before they came out with the 30. I think the 3070 and the 3080 and now the 3090. So for GPUs, I think I am going to wait yet another generation. And for CPUs, it is way past time for me to okay, there's the city, and you can see where buildings should have been if my autogen was smart enough to place buildings on these flat spots. Then I would have a booming skyline, but the autogen is just not that small. Microsoft did a great job designing something that could take the that could take these flat areas and say, hey, the building here, based on what I'm seeing, would look like so and so and so, and matching it up with real world pictures and saying, hey, let's create a building based on that. I mean, it's just incredible. But anyway, I digress. Um, Now, we are headed due south, and let's see, where is our airport? And let's see, I want to declutter. There we go. And looks like our airport is roughly about due south. Still declutter a little bit. And that's about as much control as I get. And I think I might be looking at let's see if I can't see. Let's turn this way and take a gander. And take a gander this way. And there's our airport here. Okay. So we'll fly over Hartsville. And I'm getting 40 frames. So I might be able, well, and it just fell down to, when I backed out to take in more scenery, it dropped down to 24, 25. So I was just about to say I might be able to go to high on the world objects, but that looked like it. And as most of you guys know, I am in 4K. Okay, so it's just not a whole lot of fun, I don't think, flying in areas where you have to dumb the sim down so much. So I tell you what I'm gonna do, guys. Something I don't normally do, but I am gonna land at Hartsville and switch to one of the Cubs in Microsoft Flight Simulator, because for sightseeing, it's probably the best simulator there is for flight modeling, or just the flight characteristics. if I was at Microsoft Flight Simulator, the aircraft it would be doing kind of like this, and no matter what I, no matter how stable the air is, the aircraft would be all over the place. And I have seen some aircraft do that in real life. Um, I noticed that I've got a guy whose videos I watch. His channel is Mojo Grip, and he just built a Sling T4i, and he's working on becoming proficient in it. And I noticed that his aircraft is seems to be really sensitive, um, and it may be that he's just overworking the stick, um, or it may be just that sensitive, or the clips that I have watched, the winds may, well, I don't think it was the winds. I think it was just, the stick. Um, or it may be that a lot of the other videos that I watch, the camera, let me see which way the traffic is coming in. To see if anybody's taken off. Okay, there's one guy taking off here. So I need to come in the other way. Anyway, what I was saying about about Mojo, it could be that on some of the other videos that I watch where the aircraft seems to be really stable, it could be the camera uh, has built-in stabilization that's absorbing a lot of the the oscillating, or you know these kinds of movement. Now, X-plane does get, the aircraft will show that behavior when it's windy, or depending on the weather. But if I'm in calm weather, then she can be rock steady. Um, and I believe that that's closer to real life than having it, doing all this moving around in calm weather. But we shall find out, because it won't be very long now before I'm up in the Cub and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Unfortunately, like I was saying, this guy, my computer just is not powerful enough to give me good frames and good autogen in heavily populated areas, like Atlanta. Okay, so even now my frame dropped to 15. So this airport is just soaking up frames. And what happens anytime I'm below 20, then I'm actually in slow motion. So I'm a little bit high. In fact, I'm a lot high. So let me see if I can get my slip on. Take my slip out, track that middle line. Hold it off. And try not to tell. Well, I didn't prop straight and I didn't ground loop. Came mighty close to it though. Okay, so we get off the runway here and grab another aircraft in a whole new simulator. Now, I can tell you, compared to Microsoft Simulator, the graphics in x-palne look muted and dull because the saturation in Microsoft Flight Simulator is cranked way up. So you'll see that difference too. All right, so it's no need of parking. Just stop right here. And just like that, I am in the Cub in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This one I think is the Cub EX. So let's get started here. I'm not that well versed in Microsoft's version, and okay, so almost stopped the engine of fuel with the mixture. Okay, and brakes. Where is brakes? Where are brakes? All right, we just use the keyboard command since we don't know what they are. And okay, so let's get started here. Let's get some flaps in, lights. On. Okay, some of my lights are tied. Let's see. So here are my lights, and I've got landing lights. I'm not working. Nav lights are not working. Strobe light button is working. Go figure. All right. So let's just get in the air here. I think the period releases the brake. And we hold on. Hey, this who? This who? Oh, hey, Deanna. All right. So, an hour and a half later, after being on the phone, I am back and I'm at, I think I'm at Peachtree, DeKalb, or Atlanta. I'm not sure which airport I'm at. Let's see if we can determine. Actually, I don't know how to get certain views in Microsoft Sim. It's not my primary flight sim. So anyway, with that said, let's take off now. See traffic at the other end of the runway, and in Microsoft Flight Sim with live traffic, um, people do use whatever they feel comfortable using. I see the windsock, so I'm actually on the right side of the runway. So don't let that have any bearing on. Let's see. All right, so we're airborne, and I don't have anything. Okay, so I do see fraps in the lower right hand corner, which should be counting frames, and it says I'm only getting 12 frames. I don't know how accurate that is, um, but I don't feel like things are moving in slow motion, but I don't know. But in any case, I am gonna stick with this. So this is Microsoft Flight Sim, and the scenery, actually the buildings below are unrecognizable. Let's see, I see this building here, and it kind of looks like a rock. Okay, that's in the shape of a building. Um, okay, now it's starting to look like a building. But again, see how Microsoft is able to take what was normally flat.
500.
Uh,
500.
Sorry guys, I'm getting dizzy too. But getting this
500.
so that I can see the way I want to see is a little bit more of a challenge in this flight sim, at least right now. But um, let's see how these buildings are look like 3D as opposed to just being just flat. And I think Microsoft has done a great job
500.
in. Okay, I'm at 500 feet above the ground. Microsoft has done a great job at
500.
being able. I'm gonna have to either go lower or higher.
500.
Let's go ahead and climb up a little bit, a few hundred, a little bit, and get out of the flight path of the airport. Let's see. But again, Microsoft has done a great job at making what's flat in X-Plane 3D in this sim. Um, the trees, I remember them, they talked about how the sim is able to generate each tree individually. Now my settings are probably so low that that it may not look as good as some other sims, but it is what it is. I'm looking, and right now I got a lot of aliasing going on. See how everything look like it's just blinking, um, and that's called aliasing. Let's see if I can't change my settings a little bit.
500.
So, okay, so I did change some stuff. I wonder if I can turn off the the verbal stuff on this. Um, Man, this is blurry a little bit. Uh, I actually don't know how to turn off the the terrain warning, and I gotta admit I really don't know the GPS in this simulator. So look like this is gonna be a touch screen, and because I can touch it here, yep, it is touch. Otherwise, I would have to hit a knob. Okay, so what I wanted to do is see if I couldn't turn off some stuff, and I don't know how to pull up an audio. Okay, well, nope, that's not the audio that I wanted. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to deal with 500 when I'm 500 AGL. So let's take a look around and see how things look. I did change the settings, um, and I actually raised the settings. Get these flaps in. I did have as much of the anti-aliasing on that I could turn on. So as you can see, there's downtown. I think that's downtown Atlanta. Um, Yep, that's the only downtown area that I'm seeing. There's Stone Mountain, so I should be going almost due north, and I'm tracking zero. What's that? 3040, which is relatively north, and then east, because I came southwest. So yeah, so that would be downtown. Oh man, can you guys see that? That oh, that looks terrible. I'm not going there. And I got my rolling cache on. Let me just show you my settings here. Where are we? Okay, general and graphics. And I think I got my rolling cache on. Um, At least I mean to have it on. Let's see. I'm not even sure where to go for the rolling cache. Maybe data. Yeah, there it is. Data, I got it on. I got it set to 64 gigabytes, GIB. Um, so that's roughly going to be just over 32. Let's change this to 128. Let's see if that helps. And maybe that would make it go out, download stuff a little further out. Photogrammetry is on, live world and air traffic, live weather, multiplayer. I know you guys don't want to see me go through this stuff, but just, is there a save? Okay, maybe it's saved. Oh, there it is. Okay, and now I gotta wait. I'll be right back. Okay, my rolling cache is up to 93%, so it should be finishing up. I had to wait, and let's resume. And hopefully that would have caused it to download more data. Doesn't look like it though, does it? Nope. Yeah. I hear so much good stuff about this simulator, and I'm not having that experience. I mean, what's up under me look good, um, but maybe it's my computer, and if it is, what else can it be anyway? Let's roll into downtown. I'm thinking that as I get closer, where's my trim button? I'm, I don't see a trim button, so trim is electronic. I'm thinking that as I get closer to downtown, the buildings will clear up and look better. But having stuff come in and out like this, at least for me, doesn't do a lot, doesn't say a lot for immersion. And I honestly had really high hopes for this sim. I got 128 GIB on the GIB on the rolling cache, so I'm thinking that I've got allocated enough storage for it to download quite a bit of square miles, so stuff doesn't pop in and out the way it is. But apparently I don't have enough, and is that an elevated highway, or that may be the train, the rail system. um, I know that Atlanta does elevate the rails in some places. I was working on elevating the rails in some places. Let's see, once I get up here, it looks fairly
500,
fairly good.
500,
Let's see if we can get below 500. Power back here. And throw in some flaps. Rail yard there. So, what do you guys think of the skyline? Looks looks okay. I'm not gonna say great, because this building here, these two buildings look kind of funky, and I got a gigabyte download on my download speed, so my download speed shouldn't have a lot to do with it. But
500, 500, 500,
oh, that's just not looking too good to me. But
500,
considering I couldn't get this out of X-Plane, I should be happy, right?
500,
Because I cannot get
500,
what I'm getting here. Oh man, look like post-apocalyptic. but I can't get this out of X-Plane. So I don't know which is worse, the flat buildings or the post-apocalyptic look. Um, if there is something that I can do to improve the scenery without having to download, um, fix this, if there's something I can do in the settings to improve the scenery, you guys let me know. Because this is just atrocious. All right, so I see some lights blinking up there. It's not an airport, it must be a helicopter pad. Well, Microsoft doesn't do helicopters, but is that an airport? You know, it's only airports in Microsoft Flight Sim that you can see lights from Mars, and looks like I can be. I mean, there's no way in the world in real life I'd be able to see lights that far off. But I don't see Peachtree, DeKalb being this close. But yeah, that looks like an airport. Well, what we'll do, guys, is we'll take it. We'll go ahead and put her down there and call it, rather than make the flight all the way to Peachtree. I don't know what airport this is. Put in a few more flaps. Looks like I'm on the glide slope. Below it.
500. 500. 500. 500.
And well, maybe that is Peachtree. I tell you, the GPS was made it look exceptionally further away at one point. And if it wasn't for these lights, I wouldn't be able to discern. I wouldn't have been able to tell that this was a runway. Okay, so. Oh, yeah, let's go around. Now, the reason I'm going around because I want to see something. I talked about the the bobbing, how this thing used to bob around, and I just applied an update, and Microsoft mentioned in that update that they were going to work on they called it oscillations, and looked like they did because my nose is a lot uh, more sturdy than it used to be. I mean, because there was a time when I'd be flying and in smooth air, and the airplane would literally be behaving this way. And right now, to get it to do this, I'm dancing on the rudder pedals, but so they apparently have did some work to
500.
that to make it behave
500.
better. I'm not doing anything by procedure at all. I just want to make. I know I made a a note of that behavior when I was in X-plane, and I actually want to revisit that in this aircraft. Okay, so I'm on downwind. Not lined up on downwind, but that's okay. And this is a bush aircraft. I shouldn't be able to put it down anywhere. Um, in fact, I don't recall whether it had those big Tundra tires on it. I believe it did. I believe this is the one that I saw the big Alaskan tires on. But anyway, I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to put it down in the grass. No, I'm gonna put it down on the runway.
500.
And I'm definitely not as stable as I was the first time, but it's okay. See if I can get her down. All right. And let's get her off the run, off these flaps in too. And I'm gonna go to the right. I just want to get off the runway. Oh yeah, look at the tires. I think this is the one oh, come on. I think this is the one I saw those big Alaskan tires on. Or is it? Well, it's got big tires. Don't know how to look down there. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the two sims. I'm really am not impressed with this video at all, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.